That's a good idea, though, to battle for it. We got another call?
Yes, we do.
Uh-oh.
Ashley with us on Sactown Sports. Hello, Ashley. How are you?
I'm doing all right. You?
Good.
Doing
What's
fine.
up? What's up?
What can we do for you?
So I just wanted to talk real quick. An acquisition this offseason, I think that would be really good for the Kings. And I think it's a kind of under the radar name too.
All right.
I think DeJounte Murray would fit really well with us. He'd add a little bit extra defense. He's not necessarily what he once was in that sense, but he's still a solid defender. And then besides that, we have the playmaking aspect that he adds, which is about 6 to 7 assists a game. And that would also be very beneficial for us. And then he also is a good, third or fourth scorer for a team, which he could certainly fill that role for us as well.
All right. Thank you.
Ashley, yeah.
I know that there was Drapes and I were doing, not last season, but the season before, we were out at the arena doing a game, I think, or doing our show before a game.
Yeah.
I remember we were talking about DeJounte Murray. We loved him.
Yes.
Remember, we both said he's great. And I think they played against the Kings that night. He wasn't that good. But Ashley, Drapes and I both have been on record as saying we love DeJounte Murray.
Right. But not as much anymore. He suffered a torn Achilles as well.
And he makes a lot of money.
And he makes a lot of money. And he's been traded from, San Antonio to Atlanta to New Orleans.
Yeah.
And then he hurts his Achilles, tears his Achilles. I think that ship has sailed, to be honest with you.
I'm not sure he's DeJounte Murray anymore.
Right. And I know Doug loves him, Seattle guy, tough, hard nose, but I think there are better options for us out there. And he's not a shooter, Whitey. He's not a three-point shooter.
Who do you not to –
I don't know, but I think – I already went on record and said, Dennis Schroeder. I'd take a look at Colin Sexton, maybe to try to get a Colin Sexton off of Utah. And who knows what they're going to do. So I think there's some other options out there for us.
I know that it's true. The Kings could use a point guard. To me, that's a little overstated because to me, when you say they need a point guard, it implies that everything's fine except that.
Yeah.
And to me, I think the need for perimeter size and shooting is greater, and a point guard can fit into that because if he can, defend and shoot from the perimeter, great. But to me, they just need a point guard. I don't think that's exactly their biggest issue. It's an issue, but I don't think it's the biggest issue.
I honestly think, and I hear you, and I agree with you for a bit because I think their issue is they just need talent upgrades.
Yeah,
no matter the position. If you get a center. I don't know who would be out there. Or if you get a shooting guard, if you can get Devin Booker, sign me. We just need to elevate our talent. I think part of our problem is our ceiling is really low compared to the other contenders.
I think that's a great point.
It's like we got some good players, but how high can they really take us? How far can they take us? So I think it's not just to your point, we need a point guard, and all of a sudden that magically is going to make us a contender. Oh, we need to upgrade our talent.
I think it was Bobby Marks when he did the review of all the teams and their offseason needs. He pointed out that to be competitive in the league, you need, especially with the salary restraints now, you need 7 or 8 really good players if you're going to have a chance to compete.
7 or 8.
Yeah. The Kings don't necessarily have that. They have
how many we have? 6? Are you saying 6 or no?
I'd have to, they have about that. And they have a couple other guys that maybe, right?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Like Devin Carter. Can you say that he's a really consistent, good player?
No, we don't know yet.
Yeah.
We don't know yet.
Right. Even Keon he's really close. But again, if you're talking about being a competitive team, that's what you have to have.
Right.
So I think you're right. It takes a talent upgrade rather than bringing a point guard, plug him in, and boom, you're on your way.
Right. Yeah. And, I look at the champions of yesteryear that have come recently here. Boston, their talent ceiling is high, but so is their floor. Their bottom players are really good. Their role players are really good. Denver, when they were winning the championship, same thing. Golden State. We need to just elevate. So whatever can be done, Scott Perry, to do that, I think you got to look at it.
Yeah, that reminds me of how I feel when I'm watching Minnesota play the Warriors, because I feel like Minnesota could be at their floor and they're still better than the Warriors without Steph.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then when they go to their ceiling,
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
we're,
Night. Yeah.
do we have anybody that can get to the levels of an Anthony Edwards? Like at Anthony Edwards' best.
No. Levine's probably the closest to that.
He can get hot.
And it's not so much a slight of those guys. It's just he's so special.
Good. He's so special. And so when we're talking about, Kawhi at his best, SGA at his, we can't get to that level. And that's part of our problem.
Yeah. So that's what I was going to ask you. Do you think there's a way for the Kings to get their guy the way the Knicks got theirs? Because Scott Perry was involved in this in July of 2022. Remember, Brunson was a pretty good player with Dallas.
Yeah, he was good.
But the Knicks gave him 104/4, and a lot of people said, they're giving him way too much money.
Yeah.
But look how it's turned out.
Who's out there?
I don't know the specifics, but it is another avenue, perhaps, if you can find that guy who he's a little undervalued.
Yeah, and you also, and here's the reason why, everybody know I'm a Zach LaVine guy, a big-time Zach LaVine fan. But when you look at Brunson and when the Knicks got him, they got him when he was 25. Zach LaVine's 30 now. So who's that 24, 25-year-old who's playing behind somebody or playing, is in somebody's shadow that if we give him the ball, make a deal for him, he can blossom? Who's that guy?
Give me Nesmith, give me Nembhard, a bunch of those.
Your boy Nembhard. Nembhard. Yeah.
By the way, the Knicks were punished for engaging in conversations with Brunson before the free agency window opened. They got to sign him, but I assume that had to do with the fact that didn't they hire his dad?
Yeah, his dad. Yeah, and elevated his dad and everything like
and
that.
The next thing he's coming here.
I might have to do that exercise for tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to come in with somebody. Who's that next guy nobody's talking about that we can get and elevate?
Yeah, I know Alan, and I listen to Alan's show every day, and one of the things they're doing is they're coming up with trade targets every day. And, it's fun, and I listen to it. But when they talk about a guy like, say, Trae Young, to me, it's like, nah, that's not what they need. Not the established older star. They need that guy that's better than anybody else realizes he is.
Yeah, an SGA.
Yes.
That's what happened with him. He took off. Who's that next young guy that
find him for us, right?
I'll find him for you. That's my homework assignment.
All right. And then when we come back, Kings and a culture of accountability. Was that an issue? What's with that? Next on Sactown Sports.